Okay, and now it's live. We're live. Ta-da!
Yay.
Welcome, everybody. This is our, I'm Mimi. We're at Mimi's Global Cafe, and this is what I like to call the artistpreneur panel because everybody that is here is both an artist and an entrepreneur running their own business, being a badass business owner, being an artist, doing it all, thriving, and during the weirdest year any of us have experienced. And these are all women artists that I've experienced over the past years, and I enjoy their art and I enjoy what they put into the world. And so we are here to learn more about how they do it, why they do it, what motivates them, how they keep thriving and or surviving and or whatever during this year. And at any point you can ask us questions. And oh, hey, Brenda Serrano has joined us. She's saying hello, beautiful ladies. Hang on a second. Where's my little I lost my mouse. My mouse is somewhere. Anyhow, Brenda, thank you so much for saying hello and for being here with us. Let's do this. Let's go around and everybody take a moment and introduce themselves. Let's start. I'm going to start in reverse order of the screen. We're going to start with Janice.
Okay. Hi, I'm Janice Aponte, and I'm an oil painter. My studio is located at Workshop 4200 in Chicago. And I also run a non-for-profit called I've Got Escape that does fundraising for Puerto Rico. And yeah, I love creating. It's a wonderful thing.
Excellent. Okay, Nitra, you're up.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nitra Love. I am the owner of Ethnic Artist Market. You can find me online at ethnicartistmarket.com. I am a serial entrepreneur and I'm an artist. And I love to make earrings and accessories. So I hope to show you guys some of that a little later.
Awesome. Thanks, Nitra. Amy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Amy Butts from Ladysmith Jewelry Studio. I am a Chicago-based jewelry designer, and I have been doing and making jewelry all my life. I love every aspect of it, as well as I'm a teacher of metalsmithing and jewelry design, and I teach at the Arts Center of Highland Park, and I've been teaching for over 25 years.
Yeah. Angelica.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angelica London. I am a mixed media painter as well as art educator. I teach elementary art at a charter school in Inglewood on the south side of Chicago. And I'm also, this lovely panel, we're all entrepreneurs. So I have a subscription box art business, which I'm excited to tell you all about. But my biggest passion is my mixed media painting.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, so let's do this. Let's first start. I want to hear about what inspires you and what inspires your art and keeps you going as an artist and business person. And now I'll kind of like jump around a little bit. Well, Angelica, why don't you go? Because you were just talking.
Well, I purposely wore this shirt for that question. I'm very inspired by Black women. Being one myself, I find a lot of beauty in our skin tones and just the femininity of it all. Women in general inspire me, but Black women because that's all I know. So I primarily paint Black women and children. That is also something that I see on my day-to-day at school when I'm teaching. I see beautiful Black children all day. And so those are the people that really inform my art and give me ideas and make me push myself to be more creative. That is my biggest thing. And I also want to showcase images that aren't typically shown in museums, in galleries. So minority women that's low on the totem pole of what you see in large art avenues. So I always want to be that voice, be that kind of champion for women that look like me, women that don't have a chance to see themselves on a day-to-day basis.
I love it. Yeah, because it's one of those things you can't, what's the phrase? If you want to be it, you got to see it, right? Or
For
something,
sure.
or flip it, right?
Yeah, my favorite thing is looking at that, that picture of the little girl looking at the Michelle Obama portrait in the Smithsonian. Like, that is like the best image ever. Like, you can be that if you're seeing that. And we're so fortunate now that, our vice president elect is a Black woman. So we can see those images on a higher scale more often now, hopefully. And that's what I want to try to do with my art.
Excellent. Thanks, Angelica. Hey, Amy, we'll go in reverse order. That way everybody will know when they're coming up.
Excellent. So what inspires me? Gosh, that's such a large question for my life because, I'm not only a metalsmith and a jewelry designer, but I'm also a teacher. So when I think about like things that inspire me as a teacher is that I get inspired by my students and I get inspired to really light their fire, to get them very curious about what it takes to be to learn jewelry making, to learn the business. And like I thrive when I see my students have that aha moment and they're just like, oh my God, I got it. And then they just run with it and they are having a great time. And so I love like being a teacher in that way because I get to give the gift of inspiration to them and allow them to take that inspiration and find their own creative voice. Like with my students, I'm always just like, my job is to help you find your creative voice through metalsmithing and jewelry design. So I would say that that's like the one thing that inspires me with my students. And then in my studio, what inspires me is to make something that nobody else makes, or to make something that I've been thinking about and to be able to have it come to fruition. And I'm inspired to make things that are beautiful and delicate and interesting and like pieces that when you pick them up, you look at them and then they start to reveal more to the person. And then that's how people fall in love with my work because they see the tiny details and they see the craftsmanship. And I'm inspired to make things that people just want to wear all the time. Like that becomes their go-to piece of jewelry that they wear. And like my tagline of my business is adorning the world one beautiful person at a time. And so like I'm inspired to just always to adorn people. Like that's what I love to do. And I am also inspired when somebody brings me like grandma's little delicate thing, or like there are things that things they've inherited and they don't know what to do with it. And I take it and I turn it into something that they get to carry the memory of their loved ones along and by wearing it. So those are like some of the things that inspire me in my studio as well.
I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
Nitra, let's go to you.
Yes. Well, for me, art is extremely personal. Like I said before, I promise not to repeat it again. But as a business owner, what inspires me is just working with other artisans who need resources and services, and they will have that in reach. I do have a company called Ethnic Artisan Market, and that's mostly a service-based business where we provide all of the lead work, all the stuff that the creatives who are so busy creating kind of oftentimes overlook. So my passion lies there in the technical details of being a business owner, being an artist, running a business. That's where my passion lies, but I also like to create outward expressions via custom apparel. Like I said, I do earrings and accessories, and I don't want to get lost in the sauce, but I just gain inspiration from a lot of different little small interesting things that just pop up in my mind, and I just create it.
Yeah.
To do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nitra, a couple of things. One, we're getting a little bit. Are you getting feedback? Is anybody else getting a little bit of feedback, or is she breaking up for you all too? A little bit. You're breaking up a little bit, and so I don't know if you want to try to get, like if you have something with the cord. It was fine before for whatever reason, but now it seems a little choppy, and sometimes when you're talking, it'll like. You'll be talking and it doesn't keep up with you. The audio kind of gets out of sync for some reason. I think it's because it's a Bluetooth thing.
Maybe. I'll try.
Yeah, but don't stress over it. But when you're, if you can't, if you can't, it's no big deal. Just talk a little bit slower, so that it seems like even when you're talking slower, it's not as bad. I don't know.
Okay.
But one thing I wanted you to talk a little bit more about before everybody got on, you were talking about how, you know, a lot of things were happening and they were making it like you were kind of got inspired also by by getting angry about things, right? And using that to kind of turn to create something beautiful out of the emotions that you were feeling. And so I don't know if you
Right.
could talk a little bit about that, because I thought it was really cool.
Right. Well, just being a creative period. I'm a people person. I like to get out and flow. I thrive by human connection. I thrive by fresh air. I thrive just being out in the elements in an urban environment. And that's how I live. That's how I thrive. Everything I do is based around my environment and just the people that are in it. And having that aspect cut off with coronavirus and pandemic and building frustrations on top of each other in regards to business, you know, us having to actually shut down our brick and mortars. Um, I think there was a different type of anger in me, more so than just a regular everyday frustration. And to release that frustration and those anger, I actually picked up a paintbrush for the first time since I was a kid. And I started
Mm.
doing some of the things that I learned to do as a kid, creating something out of nothing. Being in a, you know, single mom, single parent household, you know, I didn't grow up with anything. I created my doll clothes. I created my clothes. My mom made everything from scratch. So I kind of, I guess, pulled back deep into my origins and just started creating stuff out of anger. What came out of those frustrations was something so beautiful and so unexpected that it actually shocked me. I was surprised, you know. I started, of course, on custom apparel, but it's easy to do custom apparel. I love art. As a kid, I loved art, and I kind of remember, like, hey, let me try to do this. Let's try to do something different. And then having little ones watching me, I had to kind of channel that energy and those frustrations in a positive um, manner. And being a creative and having a creative family, hey, we just indulged in art. We indulged in cut, paste, copy, glue, everything, and we mosh podged a lot of things that turned out to be so beautiful. And there's a demand for those objects. And for me personally, anger is a beautiful emotion. You know, there's a lot of negativity around anger, but out of anger and frustration comes something so beautiful. And I think that was so, um, that was just a personal creation and just personal moments for me to where definitely transforming those frustrations because I was about to lose my mind. Had I
Yeah.
not picked up that paintbrush and bought tons of canvases and bought records, you know, just some of the things that I really truly enjoyed doing outside of corporate environments, I probably would have lost it. You
Yeah.
know, and literally, I lost everything. My store closed. I lost and gained a lot. So that anger and frustration
Hmm.
kind of brought
Yeah.
a different level of creativity.
I love it. And you know, Kristen's talking about the alchemy. Like anger can act like a fire, right? And then it can
Absolutely.
transform into something beyond, which I love. And this is a technical thing. I just had an idea. I wonder if it's your earrings that are clicking against your headset. I wonder if it's that. I wonder if that will help. Okay, talk
Does it
now.
sound any different now? Does it make a difference?
No,
Or no?
it's, I don't know. Let's try it next round, and then
Okay.
we'll put it back up, because I know that happens to me
Okay.
sometimes. The earrings will do that. Janice, how about
Hi,
you?
everyone. Well, I mean, being a Puerto Rican woman, I've always been inspired by my roots, my cultural roots, and the music, the people of the island, which I really miss a lot. I've been living in Chicago for, I think, over 15 years. But before that, I was in Puerto Rico. And before that, I was in New York. So just like my upbringing, my art has always been transforming. And I'm always experimenting. I'm one of these artists, like I can't sit still and just do one thing. I'm always experimenting with techniques and different mediums. I started working with acrylics like a couple of years ago here, and I've been working with abstract art. So a lot of my inspiration really comes from me traveling. When I travel a lot, the people that surround me, things that I'm going through in my life, emotions. I mean, that's a big question, like Amy said, but yeah, a lot of it is really my experiences and my relationships that inspire me. And I've used this pandemic as an opportunity to work a lot and create a lot of work. I mean, I feel like sometimes I wanted to lose my mind because just like Nitra, I mean, I'm a social butterfly too. I love talking to people, and I have, my circle of friends, and we get together every month. That stopped happening, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my mind, and you get a little depressed. It's and you start thinking so much what's gonna happen, and your anxiety levels are like up here. So it's also been a coping mechanism for me too, to deal with the anxiety, to create artwork, through all of this. So yeah, I mean, that's how I've handled it. So every day, I'm working every day, because it keeps me sane,
Art therapy. Art therapy.
It is, and I did forget to mention, like Angelica, I've been doing virtual paint and sips with my girlfriend. Her name is Patricia Perez, Lady P. We used to offer physical paint and sips in the workshop, like twice a month, and that was happening. We did that for like a couple of years, and all of a sudden this happened. So we started doing the virtual to, as a means for other people at home to, have that outlet, because that's so important, especially for like the kids. I mean, I can't imagine if I were a kid or a teenager, being at home and not being able to like touch my friends and hug them, and it's so difficult. And I think that's really important. Like right now, it's the best time to, as an artist, to put our work out there, and be really present with the public, because people really need to see it. Even in the beginning, when this happened, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I should even post my work. I feel so bad. I don't want to be selling work right now. And I ran into someone from the Puerto Rican Museum, and she told me, Janice, keep posting your work. She just said this out of nowhere. It makes me feel so good. Every time I see one of your images, it just makes me feel good inside. And I was like, wow, you realize, like, in these moments, how much of an impact art has on people. You don't even realize it, but it really does have a big impact. It really does.
Yeah.
So you have to stay active.
Yeah.
And very present.
Yeah, and I think a couple of the themes that have come up with everyone is it's connection with other people. It's showing what they want to see in the world. Like, I want to see this in the world, so I don't see other people doing it, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put this into the world. I'm gonna make beauty in the world. And then also the opportunity to have it be sort of interactive, like whether the art itself is functional or whether it has some kind of other meaning to it. There's this connection to something beyond ourselves that happens with the art. And I mean, I noticed with I consider myself this is so funny. I never even noticed it until now. And shame on me for like, so for everybody out there that's listening, like before we got out there, I was like, okay, I don't want to hear any BS about, blah, blah, blah. And so now I'm of course going to say like BS about myself, but I always think of myself as a creative person, but not an artistic person. And I don't know why I make that distinction in my head. Whereas I think that everyone is creative and everyone is artistic, and it just depends on how you want to express it. And so, I remember being at Lil Street at an event for Lil Street, and I was walking around, and they were painting with watercolors, and it looked so cool. And I'm so, pro creative expression and do all this stuff. I was walking by and somebody said, "Oh, well, come and join us and paint." And I said, "No, I'm not good at that. I'm not artistic." And as soon as I said that, the teacher looked at me like, "You better get your ass in the seat like now," because it was almost like it was like a showdown. Like I threw down the gun, and then I made this little sweet little thing out of nothing, and it ended up being actually pretty decent. And last week when I did the event with Angelica for Columbia College, I had so much fun, even though I felt like Angelica was reaching through the screen and painting it herself. I was like, "Angelica, are you painting this? Like, I know it's mine." The only way that I know that it's mine is that instead of having it be daytime, I had it be night. And then I made the sun into a moon because I love bats. And people who know me know that I love bats. I'm obsessed with bats. If you know me, I'm like bats prince. Like, that's all you need to know about me. Bats and prince. And,
what a combo.
Yeah. Well, do you notice purple everywhere?
I love it.
So I added bats, and I drew and I painted in some bats, and the bats turned out pretty good. So I liked the bats, but I noticed this within ourselves, and so art is healing. But then you all take it to another level, because not only do you create art and beauty and you do it in a way that connects with other people, you also do it in the form of a business, right? And I think that takes some extra chutzpah and vulnerability and like lady balls to for lack of a better word, to do it as a business. And Angelica, you said something interesting last week where you were like, "Okay, I'm an artist, but I'm also a businesswoman." And so, and I was like, "Oh, that's so good." Like, I gotta say that. So now I'd like to go around and talk about the business side of things, because this is, I think sometimes people are like, "Oh, that's so great that you do that," but you like that, but they kind of diminish the value of it, as opposed to saying, "No, this is the value that I create, and I'm going to claim a value for it." So can you talk a little bit about that, Angelica, and we'll hop around?
Sure. My business started out of necessity. So I've been painting professionally, if that's what you want to call it, for over 10 years now. I am a graduate of Columbia College Chicago, which is an art school. So I love the education I got from there. But honestly, I'll say that a lot of the things that I did creatively and artistically happened way after college. And so my last semester, I took the semester off because of some family things. And so at that time, I wasn't in school, I wasn't working, and I needed money. So I am in a sorority. I'm a Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So I had friends that were in fraternities and sororities that asked me to paint paddles and do things. And then they knew that I was an artist. So I actually ended up doing murals in people's houses during that time. So it became like out of necessity. I needed money. So everyone knew I was the creative friend. So why not hire Angelica to make XYZ for you? So that's really where my business started. And then over time, then I had more exposure to larger art shows in Chicago, being exposed to more notable Chicago artists that invited me to do shows with them. And from there, just kind of took off. I've always been known to be the youngest out of most of my art shows. So that was a big hindrance to, well, I won't say it. I was about to say it was a big hindrance to my success. I won't say that. I'll say that was the push for me to be successful, because everyone's coming into these shows and they're like, "Oh, who's this early 20s girl doing XYZ, like over there with a price tag of a couple $100s?" Like, discounting me because of my age. Like, I experienced a lot of ageism in the beginning of my art career. But then I felt better because I was putting out quality content and work that people could relate to and work that people felt an experience with. And so I think that bumped up my, I don't know, respect level after that. And then, the story continues with larger shows, Miami Art Week last year, also Miami Art Week this year, but it was canceled due to COVID. So being exposed to really large shows has been just a blessing for me with my career. And back to COVID situations, I had in-person sip and paints as a branch off of my business. And of course, we couldn't do that after a while. So some things were canceled, some art shows, some visual art shows were canceled for me during that time. So I was like, okay, we gotta do something. And then school was canceled. So the teacher side of me was like, okay, I'm not in school right now. So I did the virtual sip and paints. And with my virtual sip and paints comes a kit called a lit kit. And that kit has all the supplies that they need. And Mimi received one for our Columbia event. And that really makes the experience. So that has been really, really successful for me. I've sold over 1,200 kits thanks to really large parties like Pfizer, the drug company, University of Pittsburgh, Columbia College. So just word of mouth, and also just pushing towards my goals of what I want to see or where I want to see myself has just caused a blooming of my business. COVID has been, for a lot of people, it's either been really good or really bad. And I've been kind of in the middle. I've had some family affected by COVID, deaths and sicknesses and things. But then I've also seen, success in my business during this time, because it is a time where people need outlets. People need a creative outlet, and I'm fortunate to be able to provide that for them. So money aside, the real passion behind what I've been doing is making people feel better, making them connect, helping them connect to family that they can't be around right now. So these virtual paint parties are art therapy for me, but also great for them, because they're like, oh, I can celebrate my birthday with my uncle that's in Canada. Like, it's a way to mesh people together. So I've been really fortunate to be able to do my art in different forms throughout the years.
Yeah, and you also have a purpose behind it. Like that's, your business is not only a creative business, it's a purpose-driven business. Like you understand, like this is what my business does, but here's what's underneath it. What it's really about is this. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No.
The business side, also the purpose side of the business goes even deeper. Like scrolling on the bottom of the screen are two of my websites. So alondonart.com is my visual art website, and LitKit Artbox is the website for my subscription art box. So maybe at some point I can talk about that a little bit more. I don't want to take up all the time, but for that subscription box, 10% of the proceeds for those boxes goes to a scholarship for a minority art student at Columbia College, Chicago. So I want to bring it way beyond, being beneficial for me. I want that to I was a minority art student at Columbia College, Chicago. So I know the struggles that go with that. So I want to be able to make that time for a student at the school a little bit easier. So that's another, selfless act. Well, okay, that sounded really cocky. Sorry. Really selfless act. But something that I want to make, the world a better place in the process.
No, yeah, you want an opportunity to give back and to have what you do mean more than just the thing. So
for sure.
Okay, now I'm going to take a choice. Who wants to go next and talk about what's fueling your business?
Well, I'll go.
All right, go.
For me, can you guys hear me okay first?
Yeah, you're saying it sounds pretty good. Just start talking. And it's so funny. Okay, my mouse pad is kind of like playing hide and seek with me. So it'll come up and I'll be able to use it, and then it's going, oh, it's back. I think my mouse pad just needs a bunch of attention, and unless I mention it goes away. I just wanted to make sure I could switch to you, Nitra. Okay, go for it.
Okay. Well, for me, I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. I started out in the beauty industry. As I became a hairstylist, I've been a salon owner, I've owned a clothing store. I've done so many layers of entrepreneurship, which is why I classify myself as a serial entrepreneur because it seems like whatever I think about, I just go out and do it. So right now, I'll start, let's say 2016, I started out in custom apparel. And my inspiration for owning a t-shirt shop was to encourage people to express themselves visually. You know, a lot of people are quiet and they hold in a lot of emotions internally. So my inspiration with the t-shirt shop was, hey, you got something to say? Put it on a tee. There's your art right there. You know, everybody can see that. And what you put out there may help someone else. So my initial inspiration literally was giving people encouragement and motivation to be more free creatively. And it just kind of blew up from there. I do have another brand in which I encourage. It's an empowerment brand. I do custom branded t-shirts for Black and brown women, in addition to the artisans that are connected with at the artisan market. Um, and I think my inspiration is just being of service. That's where I derive everything from the beauty industry all the way up to being of service now in entrepreneurship and to other business owners. I do have a degree, a business degree as well. So I run across a lot of people who are creators and who are entrepreneurs, but they don't know how to put it together properly, packaged. And I guess my gift is being able to take tidbits, just bits and pieces of creatives. We're kind of different. As a creative, we have this big grandiose idea, but sometimes it's kind of difficult to articulate it. And my specialty and what I do is I work through all of that stuff and put it together in a package that's presentable. So that's what I do at the artist market. And I think motivation from that is just because I was a young entrepreneur at one point, and I was just thinking it. I didn't know what I was doing. So once years and years in, and I have a degree to back it up, I think now there's a passion for those who were in that space where I once was, and I can understand them because we speak the same language. I've been there before, so I know what you want and I know what you need. Just tell me what it is and we'll make it work. So I do a lot of branding and marketing in addition to the art aspects. Like I said, for me, art is very personal. I'm a hoarder of my own personal collection. So whatever I do, if I put it out there, fine. If I don't, I'm totally content with that. I just do it as a way of expressing internal energies and emotions. But as far as business is concerned, my passion lies in assisting artisans, period. Um, I think
I love it.
now with COVID, another thing is a lot of us were kind of left out in the dark when it comes to not having your stuff together, not being able to access certain loans and different financial aspects of stuff that was going on that were available for people who had their business packaged together. So within the artisan market, the catalyst behind the digital aspect of Agnes, have a digital community, the catalyst behind that was to bring us creatives together and, hey, this is what you need, this is why you need it. Just kind of put it together because a lot of people were frustrated that they didn't have their packages together. You can be an artist all day on paper, but if you don't have it, your financial backed up, if you don't have your different plans, all these different things together still, you just going to be left in the dark. So at the artist market, it's more of an educational aspect as well, in addition to offering services to people who probably don't know that they need this. Like, you don't know you need a business plan for this business that you're hustling. So let me show you why you need it. Let me show you how to get it done, and we'll just put it together. So, I'm kind of like creatively all over the place, but I make it work.
It does work. It's like it's a right brain, left brain thing. So
It's a
a
constant
lot of us,
battle.
yeah, yeah, it is. It is. Excellent. Okay.
And I would say, Nitra, that like what you have done, like through your life of like your businesses, like now you're giving the gift to other people to help them, to inspire them. And that's what I love about listening to you. It's just like, it's become this like evolution to inspire and to support and to like really give other artists the love that they need. Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's like the ultimate compliment because whether I can articulate it or not, that's the ultimate goal for me is to give. I once said that, you know,
Yeah.
I'm big on, I'm not going to be here one day. So what's the use of me hoarding all this information that I know through trial and error and experience and education?
Yeah.
Somebody else need what I got. So I'm in this position to give. I'm in this position to understand the recipient. You know, I'm poor. No one has ever given me anything. I'm from a very poor background. So I have a different perspective. I'm the first in my family to graduate college. I went to college and graduated on GED, you know? So it's doable. You can do it. So I have a passion for those who don't know their potential. You know, let me show you how you can get this done.
Yeah.
And we can go here and paint later. But in the meantime, let me show you how we can get this done. So thank you. Thank you, Amy, for picking that up.
You're welcome.
Well,
I'll go
Amy,
next.
you go.
So I'm sitting here and I'm like, gosh, like when did I really start seriously making jewelry and selling it as a business or as a means? And I flash back to being in graduate school here in Chicago. I moved to Chicago to go to graduate school at the School of the Art Institute. And they would have like their annual, they started doing annual holiday sales. And so I would sit in my studio on the side because I was in the sculpture department. And oddly, going from a metalsmithing and jewelry department undergrad to a graduate program in sculpture actually had me make things smaller. So I started making jewelry as a way and selling it, you know, at that holiday show. And then also just during my 2 years at the Art Institute to make money to survive. Like that's how it happened. And then out of graduate school, I got a job working for another jeweler. And that was a wonderful experience because I got to be around this amazing designer and I helped manage her studio and I learned about her business and I learned about how she ran her business and I learned about how she had, you know, a team of people helping her and everybody's roles in doing that as well as what my job was. And I worked with Eastern European goldsmiths and they were amazing people to work with and also difficult to work with. And so it was like a sort of a lesson that I got like in my late 20s. And then while I was working for this other jewelry designer, I started like just making jewelry on my own. And my studio was the back room of my apartment. And so for a very long time, that was my studio, was in my apartment. And I just started applying to things like getting artist grants in Chicago when they had the art grants through the Department of Cultural Affairs. Like I was doing jewelry vending machines and I started installing them around the city of Chicago and I was trying to get them in the MCA. And then, you know, things just started taking off because I was like part of AIBI, which is like an apparel industry board association here in Chicago. So I did events for them. And then just slowly over my lifetime, with my business, I just found ways to connect with new communities, connect with new customers, and also at the same time designing the chandelier pieces, which which are my signature work that I do, and honing my skills. And so it's just been kind of a beautiful like thing to sort of sit here and think about, Melissa, to like think about my journey and like how my business. I'm so fortunate to have this business. I'm so fortunate for so many years and to be able to continue making the work I do and also upping my game in my shows because I started doing art fairs, summer art fairs, and that became successful. And then I applied to the One of a Kind show here in Chicago, and that has become a very successful show for me. And it's something I enjoy doing. I enjoy connecting to the community and having that outlet to show people what I do. And also going back to what I was talking about, like teaching with you, Nitra, is that I love teaching, and I love inspiring my students and being a mentor to them, because like I'm not going to be here either eventually. And if I can pass my knowledge on to my students, and watch them grow businesses, and I have many students actually have grown their own businesses, and to be their mentor, that aspect of my business is so rewarding as well. So I feel like I have two careers, like, as a business owner, and also working for the Art Center of Highland Park has been a wonderful experience, because I really believe in their mantra, which is making art accessible to everybody. And with the pandemic, I didn't teach for almost 6 months, and I have to say it was actually a nice break. Because I was teaching there. I've been teaching there for 17 years. And I remember like when everything shut down in March, and I was like, okay, it's kind of like spring break. It's like right now is about spring break. And so I'm just going to be taking a break. And then suddenly it became April, and all of April was nothing. And I remember thinking, this is the time for me to pivot in my business. This is the time to pivot in my teaching practice. So I sat down and I learned how to teach online. I took the time to figure out like how to be able to take an external camera from my computer and be able to do demonstrations. And I practiced with my students. And so now it's like I'm doing online classes with my students, and I'm teaching the first one for the first time, since this all started, and it's great. I love it, because it's like another way, another network to connect to, and another group of people. Like it could be somebody in California that I'm teaching, like my skills. So that has been like a really great addition to my business in the pandemic. And also just kind of having a nice break and be able to focus on things in my studio. I remember, during our shutdown, I was just like, okay, because like on my bench, I have like a million projects that I'm not working on because I'm always doing something else. And I was like, okay, it's time to clear the bench. And I just sat down and I was like creative, and I made pieces and I finished pieces. And so that was just a really great thing to be able to do, and to finish up things, and like to see my bench be clear, and to like have new creativity come in. So that's kind of been what's been driving me this year.
I love it. I love this conversation. Janice, you are up next. And then after this, just to give everybody a little teaser, first of all, if you have questions for anyone, it could be for Angelica, it could be for Nitra, it could be for Janice, it could be for Amy. Any questions that you have, feel free to put them in the comments. Also, we are going to be doing a round of show and tell, where everybody gets to talk about one or two of their favorite pieces, and we'll find out how we can communicate and get in touch with everybody. But show and tell was always one of my favorite things in grammar school. And so I think it's going to be fantastic to do some show and tell. This will be my first show and tell as an adult, as a grown-ass woman. But I think show and tell as a grown-ass woman is actually more fun than show and tell as a little kid.
It is.
Possibly. Okay, so Janice, you're up to talk about the business side of things. And how you've done this. Yeah.
So I started putting my artwork out there around 20 years ago. And my first festival was the Logan Square Festival, which is still one of my favorites. A lot of fun. And from there, I did that for a while. I did pay my dues, I have to say, because festivals are, as many of you know, all the setting up and tearing down. It's a lot of work, right, Miss Amy? Yeah, so I did that for a while. I mean, I used to do in the summer maybe 14 to 15 festivals during the summer, like one weekend after the other. So we have short summers, so that's very it keeps you really busy and very tired. So, but then I decided to rent out a studio space in Logan Square. That was 6 years ago. It was a smaller studio than the one I have now, and it kind of opened my mind to other things in my artist mind. I was like, well, besides painting, I started thinking about, putting my art in fabrics, and I put my art on fabrics now, on bags, and I sell fine art prints. I'm also a beader, by the way. I have a lot of jewelry in my studio. I'm sure that Mimi, when you were here, you saw I sell a lot of beading work. But being in the space has really helped me, push myself as an artist and discover that, I'm not just an oil painter. I'm a mixed media artist. I can design. I'm also designing clothing with my artwork garments for women. But one important thing that happened to me when Hurricane Maria happened in Puerto Rico, me and my friend, we did an artist call to help raise funds for the island through the arts, and we ended up forming a non-for-profit. So that's been a big part of my life, and even now through the pandemic, we're having a mission for Christmas for kids and Puerto Rico, specifically in this community called La Perla in San Juan. So we identified 45 kids. They're going to receive art kits with, watercolors and pads and brushes. So me and my best friend, Erica Sanchez, we're the founders of Arte Rescate. We've been doing this since Hurricane Maria, since the earthquake, and now through the pandemic. We've been working with Puerto Rico. We have a network of artists there that help us, with offering workshops with the materials that we send out there. So that's a big part of my life too. Besides, my work, and I mostly sell my work online. I find it's been very effective for me. I use Instagram, I use Facebook, family, friends. So I'm just constantly pushing my work on social media. And since the pandemic, I found a way to cut costs in my business. I decided to rent half of my studio space to another artist who comes here, and she works here. I work out of my house now. Because during the pandemic, that same week, I bought a house. So I'm like, wow. Well, now I have the space. I know. It's crazy, but it was like the same week that we had the shutdown. So I was like, well, I can work out of my house and maybe drop off my work. And, since we can't really have, we can't have people in the premises, I'm like, I can use it as, as just a space to show my work and have my body of work and bring my clients to see my work, and I'll work out of my house and drop. And she's been using the studio. So that helped me a lot too through the pandemic. It cut my, cost practically in half, and it's been very effective. And I'm like, ooh, we might just continue doing that. So yeah, but yeah, I think for me, I think that artists, we have to continue discovering ourselves in the process, and just continue discovering ourselves. It's a constant process.
Well, so now I'll do my little thing where I capture some of the themes that were coming up. And so it's interesting because running a business, you're doing what you just said, Janice. You're discovering yourselves and discovering new possibilities for how the business evolves, right? And that means sometimes making different choices, like, okay, what really matters here? Okay, well, I can cut this cost over here, and I can actually increase my business in this area, and so it's really strategic, right? There are a lot of strategic decisions that you're making when you're growing your business, but it all kind of comes out of what is most important to you as an artist and what you're finding is most important as a contribution to your clients and to the world. And so there's a lot of, Amy mentioned pivoting, right? You've got, okay, what can I do to pivot right now? This is the new obstacle that's in front of us. New obstacle, great. How do I pivot to go around this? Or how do
adapt?
Like pause.
You have to adapt. I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I have, many colleagues that have talked to me and they're like, yeah, I've had to leave my studio. I'm working from my house. They've had to make changes, and we have to go with the flow with what's going on and do what's best for us,
Yeah.
So we can continue creating. And that stress factor of, the rent factor, that can be a big stress factor. And a lot of businesses are, they're going out of business because of their rent. They can't afford to pay the rent anymore. I mean, it's a reality. And we have to find a way to deal with that.
Yeah. Well, and I love
to do it too.
Right. And so and there's like the realism of everything. Like every one of you have touched on, okay, wait, here's the real thing that's going on. And then there's the art part of it. And I also feel like there's another sort of myth out there that if you're an artist, that you're kind of pie in the sky about things and you're really artistic and creative, but that's where it's all like pie in the sky stuff, as opposed to no, like the nitty gritty, realistic stuff that goes on in running a business. And it's real life, right? Like, yeah, you're creating things that are bigger than life, but then there's like, it's all grounded in real life.
Absolutely. It's real life. We all have the same problems. We all have to pay our mortgages or rent. And so we have to get creative. And, I'm really happy. I mean, I think she's a great addition. Her name is Esther Kovac. Actually, I met her through but through the organization. She was one of the first artists who dropped off work at my house, my previous home. She was the first artist. She bought me like 10 pieces. She's like, I want to help Puerto Rico. And she was the first artist that I met. And here she is sharing my space. It all comes full circle, doesn't it? It's amazing.
Yeah, and the community of it. I love it. Okay, so we're going to start to go into show and tell. And I think Brenda has a question here that kind of like segues in. But she asks, have you all been able to use this pandemic into something positive in your art? And so we're going to start to go around and do some show and tell. And I like this question as sort of a musing to have while it gives us a sort of an anchor when you're talking about your art. Nitra, do you want to kick us off with some show and tell?
Absolutely. I would love to. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yeah, you know what I think it is? I've decided it's not your headset. I think it's your internet connection, because sometimes it sounds like the audio is buffering. So that's the thing. It's not your headset. It's probably not your earrings. It's probably your internet connection and buffering. That's it.
Probably.
So we'll just keep rolling. Okay. We'll roll with it.
Well, I'll do a little show and tell on channeling energy and pandemic energy into something positive. I did earrings. Can you guys see?
Yeah, you can even put them even a little closer. Yeah, the Sade earrings. Yep.
Oh, all right. And what I did was take newspaper clippings of the protests, of the uprising, of all things that were happening in the U.S. and abroad. I contacted people, customers in the UK. I have friends in South Africa. The global uprising of injustices with the police department and just Black Lives Matter movement. It was a global movement. So what I was able to do was contact friends in the States and abroad and have them send me newspapers of what's going on in their area. So what I did was incorporate those clippings in my artwork. And it was a beautiful process. It was just right out the blue. Each piece took about 3 days, 2 to 3 days to make. It was very intentional with some of the work that shows on the piece. And this one is one of my favorite because I like to bring people who are not necessarily in the streets and doing the legwork. I like to put them in that environment. So we all know who this is. Her backdrop is the riots here in Atlanta with Rashad Brooks. There's a burning building in the back. There's a burning Wendy's. And I like to put popular figures in those type of environments because a lot of people look up to those figures. For example, I will have Beyonce and Angela Davis together on one piece because those are two influential women in our society with a lot of power. And that was my motivation. Um, that was my pandemic, my pandemic art. Like I said, anger, frustration, and I really can't get out on the streets like I want. You know, I want to do something. I recall asking my mom back in the civil rights era, Mom, were you out marching? And she was like, no. And the reasons behind why she wasn't there was more so fear. But when my kids or my grandkids asked me, Mom, where were you? What did you do? This is what I did. And it just sends a message. It freezes everything in time. That's the beauty of art. And that's the beauty of these earrings. It freezes. It's a moment in time. It's frozen. It's like a photograph. And it will last forever. Beautiful piece. And a great process.
I love the process. I love the piece. And what I also love is since so many of us are on Zoom and in these kind of environments all the time, it's almost like your way, a way to express yourself and protest on a Zoom. You know, you could be talking to whoever, and they're like, "Oh yeah, those earrings! I really love those earrings. Oh yeah, you do.
Absolutely.
Let's go in a little closer." And then you can protest on a Zoom, and it starts a conversation. And it's a piece of beauty that starts a conversation that I feel like that becomes a richer conversation than starting with the thing, right?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's a different.
I have more of an impact. Absolutely. I have more of an impact because I am in retail and I'm in the beauty industry, and people will ask the questions like, "Oh, that's nice. What is that?" And that just opens up a entire dialogue. Like, it's amazing, and it's fun. So,
yeah, art opening up a dialogue. Awesome. Okay, Angelica, we haven't heard from you in a while. Let's pop. Let's pop up.
Sure. So to branch off of that question. So, how many of you all don't wear regular pants on a day-to-day during this pandemic? I mean, sweatpants and yoga pants are just the usual. So, a lot of during this time, I wanted to express like my feelings on the pandemic, but not in a stressful, dramatic, sad way. So I decided to take a kind of jovial and silly spin on it. So I do highlight a lot of Black women in my art, but this time it was Black women and Black culture while wearing comfy clothes. So in this piece, it's called Currency. And she's wearing a sweatshirt, which most of us are probably wearing day to day. And I'm mixed media. So the earring is actually a 3D piece. I don't know if you can tell. And then the piece in her locks is also 3D as well. So that was my positive spin. This is a mixed media, acrylic and oil piece, as well as the added additions. And yeah, I wanted to document this time in history, but I didn't want to be sad about it, you know, and I wanted to, when I posted it, I didn't want people to feel sad about it either. I wanted them to relate, you know, Black culture on what she's wearing, but also like, yeah, we don't wear regular clothes anymore. I can't tell you the last time I wore real jeans. So I think a lot of people can relate to that. So that's one piece. And then before the pandemic hit, I was so busy with teaching and things like that it really took a lot of work. My painting time, most of it was during the summer, so I don't teach during the summer, and it gave me so much time. So again, during this time I was able to do more. So this was another piece that I did. It's called it's very large. I'm trying to find a good angle. It's called It's called, oh my goodness, I just forgot the name of my own piece. It's called, Bronze Ballerinas. So this is a mixed media piece as well. It's collage. So this is all paper. And then their leotards are painted and their hair is painted, but their skin tones and all of that are all paper. I work primarily on wood because I think that it takes the skin tones of all the Black women that I paint the best, and it has like most of the work I paint on, or most of the wood I paint on, is about a 2-inch profile, so it is a dramatic presence on the wall. But yeah, so being able to document the pandemic in a positive way, and then also just having more time to do, I haven't done collage work in years, so to be able to do this piece in particular, which took a bit of time, for sure, was a great thing that the pandemic allowed me to do during this crazy time.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
I love that everybody, when they're talking about their work, first of all, I love that there's a variety, and I also love that it's a lot of it is mixed media and different objects and different things, because there's texture, and I love texture when it comes to telling a story, and art tells a story. Amy, do you want to go next?
Sure. I want to show you a piece that that was on my bench that I had. It was sitting around for probably 8 years, and so I started this piece just for myself, and it still is for me. But I finished it because I felt like when the pandemic started, I felt lost. Like what's going to happen? Where's the world going to go? How bad is this going to get? Like just like really needing to find my way. So this piece, let's see. So this is a bracelet that has a vintage, wait, I got to figure out a vintage compass in it. And it's from the 1940s, and it's a marble from Marble Company. And so the band itself is all, let's see, so I got to figure out it's all hand woven. So this is all hand woven silver, and that's the band. And then this is like what they call gallery wire. So it's really decorative. So I want to make things that are always very decorative. And then on the back side of it, there's a gemstone on it. And then this is the clasp. And so when you open it, to put it on, you open it up and it's all hinged. So, and like I said, this piece had been sitting on my bench for a really, really long, like 8 years, I would guess, probably even longer than that. So I'll put it on and kind of get an idea of what it looks like on the wrist. And so I finished this because I was like, I need guidance in the world. And so this is what trying to get you guys, there you go.
Cool.
It's mirrored. This is mirrored. So it's like, there we go.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, that is beautiful.
So that's the piece. Like I said, it's all hand woven sterling silver. And it's like the woven pieces come from like a series that I also do. So it was like really, I just sat down and I was like, I gotta finish this, and so I did. And unfortunately, I really haven't had any place to wear it because I would wear it to a show or something. But I still have it sitting on my bench to remind me to keep finding my way, keep doing what I'm doing in my life and my business. And then like the other sort of signature pieces that I do, like I was mentioning earlier from chandelier crystals, I'm just going to hold up all these like sort of fun long pendants that that I make. So these are all made from, sorry, I'm trying to figure out
There you go.
Let me take this. So these are all made from vintage chandelier crystals, and and they're just like sort of fun long pendants, party pendants that you can wear with like your non-jean clothes, dresses and stuff like that. So like this is like I just have been continuing to sort of just stock up my supplies of the chandelier crystals. So, and I just really love making them. They're just, like I said, they're my gemstones, and we all need bling in the world, and we all need to feel like special and sparkly and stuff like that. And so I just love making them, because the other thing is, like, I got to raid about a year and a half ago somebody's private collection of chandelier crystals. So I have boxes and boxes of chandelier crystals. So I've been sorting them and going through them and making plans for them. So it was kind of nice during the pandemic to sort of be able to sort of queue things up and be able to, like, be ready to start making things and to, sit down and just make. That's the thing. I just like sit down and make and be, and don't worry about the world out there. Like, just get away from it, like really focus in my studio. And so that's kind of like how I've been dealing with the pandemic, is just just continue being creative and continue inspiring my students to be creative. I think that's how I've been handling the pandemic.
Love it.
Yeah.
Janice.
I have so much other jewelry I could show you, but like, I'll stop.
I actually have to get up.
Oh yeah, go for it.
All right. Oh, it's getting a little chilly in my studio. So one thing I always wanted to do was a rendition of the girl with the pearl earring. So during the pandemic, I'm like, well, I have a lot of time in my hands. And so I painted her. And I love her so much. She has been Puerto Ricanized, as you can see. Those are, this was one of the first paintings that I created when the pandemic came, when we started the pandemic. I was like, well, I'm going to have time to do something something that I wanted to do for myself. It wasn't for anybody. It was something personal that I wanted to do. I always loved this painting by Vermeer. And she has actually some amapolas on her hair. And she's the girl with the clay earring. So this is a clay earring. That's a symbol of the Taino tribe of Puerto Rico, the indigenous people of Puerto Rico, before pre-Columbus days. And it's a symbol of the sun. You can see it. It has these little petals. So this is one of the first pieces that I did. And then I just continued to work and work. And I was like, well, this is a good time for me to maybe start a series, which I did. I had many pieces to go, but it started with flowers, because flowers make people feel happy, and they're a sign of life. And my work is very, very, very colorful, as you can see. And it's very textured. These are all of them are oil paintings. And I have another one back here. I'm not sure if you can, oh, it goes this way.
Pretty.
Yeah. She's very pretty. She's a larger piece. So these are mostly painted with palette knife. And when I work with oils, I've been working at my home with oils. And the bigger pieces, if I have to work on a bigger piece, I have to come to the studio because I'm really messy. I'm a messy artist. But yeah, it's I'm just going with this right now, doing this flower series, and I have a ways to go. So a lot of work.
No, I love it. And now at what point do you decide what will end up in apparel or in, on a purse or that type of thing? When do you make that call?
So for example, well, the apparel, I do have certain images selected for apparel. For example,
thanks, Mom.
Is that your mom?
That's my mom.
Tina. So this is an abstract piece. So this more than likely will go, these dresses that I'm designing are going to be like a one size fits all type of dress. So, and something that's very flowy, where it's going to highlight the art, and it's going to be very, just very loose clothing and flowy and comfortable. Because it's very hard to design, pieces when you have art. You can't get too intricate with the design. It has to be something like flowy so you can highlight the art. But I have like like 3 images that I've selected for these garments. So that's a project that I started before the pandemic, and I've already invested a lot of money on it. So yeah, I'm not sure when I'm going to put it out there, but you know, we want a runway show, don't we, ladies?
Yeah.
Yes, we can do virtual. Get with it.
But it's going to happen. So that's a project that I have in my hands that I have to see it through. It's something that I've been working on. So it's been a process. You know, I had to I came up with the design. I worked with a pattern maker, and I have I even have the silk in the studio, and it's getting a little dusty, so I have to put that to work.
That's a good
So,
sign.
but in the
That's a good sign. Like if something's got dust on it, you need to get it done. It sounds like
I need to get it done. I do. But who knows? Maybe these women might end up in a garment as well. I don't know. So yeah, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with that?
I love it.
You know, I'm also offering virtual paint and sips, but we're doing it like for private organizations and private parties, birthday parties. I'm doing that also. That keeps me busy. So yeah, it's, you know, combination of things.
Yeah. Well, I think I just think about, you know, we talked about this when we were all private, but one of the things that inspired me to pull all of you women together is not only just a gut instinct that you would all vibe together and have fun talking, but that there's normally during this time, there would be all these opportunities to like go to a show here, go to a show there, pick up things for gifts and that type of thing. And those opportunities aren't really there in the same way. And so how could we make it more interesting? Well, first of all, finding out about the artists, finding out about what drives them, finding out what the purpose is behind their art, and also just having an opportunity to show things kind of in real life and show what it's all about, you know? So this is, I want to do it this way. And what we'll do is I'll also make sure that all of the links for everybody are in the comments. So it's really easy for everybody to find Amy and Angelica and Nitra and Janice. So if you have any questions or if you want to find out more about their work or buy some of their work, which I highly recommend you to buy from small businesses and women-owned businesses and people of color-owned businesses and like all of the people that have been most hit during this time, number one. But number two, sorry, we've got cool shit to say, right? There's good quality stuff going on. And who wants to just have like the same t-shirt that everybody is wearing from Target? Or, you know, I mean,
I stopped shopping and what do you call it, in stores a long time ago.
No,
that's what I was like, local and handmade.
I was like, we have to do it on Black Friday. Like, I'm like, we have to have this panel on Black Friday, you know? So hopefully people are on and they're like, if they've gone, I'm not going to judge you if you actually have experienced some Black Friday savings today. I'm not going to, no judgment, but I'm just saying is support real people doing real things that are doing something beyond. Everybody here is doing something beyond just creating art. There's added inspiration and there's added impact. Like you all are making an impact in the world with purpose. And it's just like a gorgeous thing. So I've taken up check it out. Let's let the fans, okay, everybody that's out there that's listening right now, you know, throw in some love. I want some love shown on these women right now. So Brenda says, agree, Dana. I'm in awe with every single one of these women. They are so inspirational and gifted. Thank you, ladies, for inspiring me. I applaud you.
Hey.
Love that. And Kristen, I find all of your work life affirming. Now that is something life affirming.
Nice.
And so Dana, yes, you are biased, but you're only biased on one of the women here.
Oh, she's honest though. She's on. You know, I'm her only child, but that doesn't. You know, she'll tell me. You know, straight from the hip.
Oh, that's good. That's the best kind of mom. You don't,
Yes.
you don't want your mom to just be like, oh yeah, it's nice.
Right. It's
No.
pretty.
You're
No.
doing a good job.
Right. She's a
Keep
great one.
going.
She's a great one.
So, yeah, I appreciate that you're inspiring all of these women and inspiring other people. Like whenever they see your art, they're going to inspire you. They're going to be inspired. So, okay, so let's do a little lightning round and a lightning round, is it as long as we want it to be, right? But just about anything else that you want to share in general, or about your art, or about in general about your art, or if you wanted to, oh, wait a minute here, Erica's got, I want one more compliment for y'all. Such gems coming from this group. Art definitely heals and makes.
That's my girl.
That's all right, Erica. We got Janice's girl in the house. So yes, so share anything that you'd like to share in addition, about your art, about what's going on in the world in general, and something that you want to leave the audience thinking about. Whoever wants to go can go. Take the floor.
I have two things to say. So one, Mimi, my statement during our paint party was that I'm a businesswoman first. So my little commercial break. So I've been mentioning my subscription box. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. So it launched in October. First box went out in November. And I have a decent number of subscribers thus far. But I'm offering a Black Friday sale. So once you get to my website, it'll take you to a website called Crate Joy, and that's what's hosting my subscription box. And they are hosting 25% off of all highlighted Black Friday boxes, and mine was highlighted. So I feel so honored to have that opportunity. But in that box comes with, there's two box options, three, I'm sorry, deluxe, basic, and the kids box. So in the deluxe and basic, they're geared towards 21 and up. They're theme boxes. They come with 3 step-by-step images and then paint supplies. The deluxe box comes with extra added surprise supplies. And then the kids box comes with 2 step-by-step images and then 1 pre-sketched image for them. And that's for age 6 to 18. So check that out. It's been a great journey with the subscription box. I've really had great feedback from it. I really am surprised that in this time, like I thought I'd just have 1 subscriber for the longest time and I'm teetering on the double digits now. So it feels good. But the last thing I do want to say is that I know, Mimi, I hope I'm not jumping the gun, but one of the things I want to say for anyone that is interested in starting an art business and becoming an entrepreneur, I think the most important thing to remember is be true to yourself. There's so many people, even on this call, that may be doing the same thing that you're doing, but what makes it special is you. Your gift to the world is what makes it special. So I love hearing, I really do. Some people are like, oh, well, she's also doing sip and paints, but I love hearing that because everybody needs that right now. But what makes Janice's sip and paint is her. What makes my sip and paints is me. And I think that, what really, everybody makes a t-shirt, and there's so many t-shirts, but they still keep making them. That's never gonna stop. And so think about, don't get discouraged if you, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Don't get discouraged don't get discouraged if you find that someone else is doing what you're doing. What you bring to the table is what's really going to make it special. So
Absolutely.
Awesome. Janice, did you need to, I saw the private chat though.
I have someone at the door. I need to
Run
open
and get the door and we'll come to you last.
All right, cool.
No. Okay.
Give me 1 second, I'll be back.
That works. We gotta keep the hustle going, right?
Right.
So I love that, Angelica. And I'm glad that you brought up what inspired, for other people who are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs themselves or artists themselves, right? Because you look around and you start comparing yourself to everybody else
all the time.
And then you'll never do anything if you keep comparing yourself to other people.
I have a reminder over my desk that says,
Absolutely.
do not compare your journey to someone else's. Because I find myself doing that often. So many of my close friends just quit their jobs, their 9 to 5s, and I'm like, I'm jealous. But their journey is different than mine. Mine may happen tomorrow. Mine may happen 5 years down the line. So it's very important to just walk your path and know that it's happening for a reason.
Excellent. Janice is back. Awesome. Okay, who wants to go next? Amy, Nitra?
I'll go. So like one of the things I always think about when people approach me about being artists, or my students, for example, is, and I always say to people, is get support. Like find people to help you in your parts of your job that you don't like. Like for me, taxes. Who wants to do their taxes? I don't. Somebody else has to do that part. Or people to help you manage,
I'll do it.
like okay, but no, just like you need, you
Oh
can't.
yeah, there we go.
I think mostly it's what I'm trying to say is like you can't do everything, and to focus on the things that you can do well and get support to have them help you do other things. I think that's an important thing for young artists to remember, and have fun. Just keep following your passion and enjoy it, and just keep doing your craft. And like at the beginning of our conversations, like, am I an artist? Am I not an artist? I think everybody is an artist. Like in my mind, when somebody says to me, I'm not an artist, I'm like, yes, you are. You're an artist, but you don't know what that is. Or maybe you are an artist and you just need to start believing that you are an artist. So like for me, like I feel like everybody is an artist, and I love to inspire that in people and to have them think about how they can be creative. And excuse me. And also like in my business, like I was mentioning earlier, is like pivoting with my teaching practice. Like I have now started to teach online, and I'm working on curriculum for that. And I'm super excited about that. So if anybody out there wants to learn jewelry and metalsmithing or wax carving, because that's what I've been teaching a lot of. Like I taught myself how to carve wax so that I could teach how to teach it. And so if anybody out there wants to learn, please contact me. My head is open to you. My knowledge is there for you. And also, if anybody out there wants to have a sentimental piece designed and want to have something custom made, we can safely meet in my studio, or we can do a virtual meeting initially, and then work virtually and create a piece and do safe meetings in my studio. I'm the only one here. I keep safe practices myself, and so I do have people coming to my studio if anybody wants to come either to design pieces or to shop, because I often have work on my website that is not, and then I have more work in my studio that is not on my website. So you are welcome to make an appointment, to reach out to me, and to do some holiday shopping through
Awesome.
small businesses.
Yay!
Amy, for my own personal knowledge, do you do repairs on vintage jewelry? I have a bracelet from my
Me
great grandmother.
too.
That's one of my specialties.
I'm calling you.
Yep, that's
Oh,
one thing
awesome.
that
Me too.
I am known for helping people with sentimental objects, and I'm very respectful of them, and I love like the old knowledge of somebody making something, and to be able to see how that was made. Please come this way.
Awesome.
All right.
I will.
That's awesome.
Yay. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a couple of our contributors here. Brenda wanted to echo what Angelica was talking about earlier. Like, as women, we are all always looking at others and comparing and saying how pretty or smart or more talented, but we're all beautiful and unique. So I want to get an amen for that, Brenda. And and Ms. Dana London here is a 30-year entrepreneur. Having fun is an incredible thing to remember. Yeah.
My mom has her own business, very successful. So she was my example of being an entrepreneur my entire, the ups and downs, the crazy. So yeah, that's important.
Yeah, and it actually kind of ties into what Amy was saying too, in that if you can't get, my friend Thea has the saying, if you can't get into it, get out of it. And if you can't get out of it, get into it. So if there are things that you can delegate or do trades, like trade, or trade something for something, then you are freed up to do more of what you're really good at. And then you get to collaborate with somebody else. And then you're also allowing them to share their gifts with you, right? Because
Right.
it's just a great thing. So keep it.
My yoga teacher says compare leads to despair.
Ooh, it's good.
Yeah.
Good one.
Like that's a
Good,
good thing
it's
to
good,
remember.
it's true.
Absolutely.
Okay, Nitra or Janice, who's up?
Oh, I'll go.
Okay.
So, okay, something exciting I'm doing, and I usually don't put my artwork on sale, maybe twice a year, but I'm doing a Black Friday. So all my artwork has 30% off, and my jewelry has 20, and my totes, my bags, they have 10, and my silk scarves have 10%. So a lot of my jewelry, actually none of my jewelry is online, by the way. You have to visit the studio, and it's by appointment only. Obviously, masks are required, social distancing, so small groups, preferably 2 to 3 people at a time, that's fine. But if you want to see the art, you can go to aponteart.com. And also, if you want to see what I do with my non-for-profit, you can go to alrescate.org. That's also on my website at aponteart.com. There's a link there that will take you to this other website. And that's what I'm going to be doing this weekend. So hopefully I'll get some visitors. And I just want to advise everybody that's out there to please support your living artists. We're here and we're creating constantly. We're working because we love what we do, and we always need the support of the people that are out there. So it's very important to support your local artists and that are not local.
Yeah, that's right. And well, we're all local somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
So,
I'm locally here.
Nitra, how about you? Your turn.
Yes. Okay. My turn. What I would like to leave those that are watching this broadcast, just a word of wisdom is to don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. You are an artist, but you're also an entrepreneur. That's a big thing. Don't be afraid to just, package what you're doing, and don't be afraid to just step out on faith. I meet a lot of people who are artists, whether they're fashion designers or jewelry designers or just visual artists, and they create and create and create, and they get caught in that creative space, which is fine. But there's more to what you're doing than just creating. There are different levels if you're going to be, I guess, in the entrepreneurship realm. You can make money. There are other aspects of it. So just don't be afraid to ask for help and find what makes you feel good and operate in that space. I think a lot of times people are discouraged. They try to, well, I do this, but I don't like this. And somebody said this, I said that. Do what feels good to you. I think that's how I've operated throughout life. And people say I kind of float with the breeze, but I always land on my feet, and I'm okay with that. I can live with that at the end of the day. I've done everything that I'm supposed to do so far, and I think being free as a creative is a gift. And if you have that gift, don't be afraid to operate in that gift. So, words are wise, step out and be seen, do your thing, and be heard. So I think that's the basis behind what I'm trying to say.
Excellent.
Excellent. Yes.
So we are almost at 90 minutes, which is what I figured it was going to be. I figured it'd be about 90 minutes of us chatting. This is going to stay live. Well, it's not going to stay live. I shouldn't say that. We are going away, right? Us live people are going away, but this video will stay live on Facebook. There'll be a link. There'll be links in the comments to everything that people have spoken about. I encourage you to obviously check out the work because the work is awesome. Otherwise, we wouldn't all be here. And wishing everybody just a beautiful rest of 2020. I have to say that this has been the year that I feel I always pretty a grateful person, but this is the year that I feel actually the most grateful all the time because
Absolutely.
I see the blessings everywhere, the connections everywhere. And yes, it's also a full spectrum year. You know, we're up against a lot of it, but that's how life is, right? Like this is the real world.
Absolutely.
And so I'm just really grateful for all of you for joining me today and taking me up on this little cockamamie scheme to get together and talk about art and business and entrepreneurialism. And thank you to all of the women and men that are out there listening and that will listen, like Kristen. Can't wait to start virtually shopping these artists. Yes.
Hey.
Also, share it. Share out if you see something that you like, share it. If you don't like it, okay, that's cool. It's not your jam. But if you like it and you dig it, share it out with people because that's how people find out about different artists. So share it out.
Yep.
Share it out. Okay, well, this is Mimi signing off with Angelica and Amy and Nitra and Janice. And thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies.
And we are going to sign off. But I'm just going to stop the broadcast and we will all be together here for a moment. So thanks to all of our viewers and have a beautiful weekend. Bye-bye.
Adios.
Oh, wait a minute. And now, there's my mouse again. That mouse.